Hey guys, welcome to the first stream on the Crypto Grind channel. My name is Stuart, as always, and I was thinking that what we're going to be doing in this one is just hanging out, doing some coin reviews, and answering any questions that any of you guys might have. So if there is anything, drop it down in the chat, and of course, hit that like button because that is a great way for us to make sure that we are in the algorithm. So let's get going. If we have a look actually at today, it's pretty flat. So we are looking pretty flat in general, hovering around that 30K mark, and I don't think we're going to be moving anytime soon. I see that we've got Archie in the chat, and we've got Puppy as well. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining. If you guys do have any questions, make sure to drop it in the chat. But yeah, I just want to go through here a little bit, have a look at some of the top coins that we can see that we pretty flat. Scary intro, yeah. It's one of my favorites. I like space, so what can I say? One thing that I also wanted to do as well when it comes to cryptos, I found a couple of these tweets, basically. Actually, let me just share my screen here. Do that. So you can see some of these tweets over here as well. And you see this through Twitter. It's some of the threads that you do see quite often where everybody's pumping these coins, where they're saying, a certain coin is going to go to these massive heights, basically. So, for example, if we have a look here, one of my favorite coins, A0, they're saying that it's going to 100x this per individual here by 2024. I'm not so convinced. If we actually have a look, this is one that I wanted to show as an example while we're doing the live here. So if you have a look at A0 itself, we can already see that the market cap is sitting at 200 million. So for it to 100x, I would be pretty surprised, because I mean that's going blasting way past Bitcoin itself. So, well, not Bitcoin, but blasting past a lot of the top coins. Now, A0 is a great project, but I think you've got to be realistic when you come to these projects here. Make sure that you're doing your research and that you're having a look. And when it says 100x, don't just believe anything that comes straight, straight off the top. You've got to make sure that you're doing your own research. So, see here, there's a comment here from Archie. What are your thoughts on the chances of the ETF being accepted? I think the ETF being accepted is likely. It's been in the works for a long time now. I don't even know how long these ETFs have been spoken about. I think in the crypto space, we've seen these ETFs being spoken about for probably, 3 to 5 years now. I think it's a possibility. I don't see it not happening, especially, and Archie will know, and a lot of guys who've watched me on the Gem Hunters, you will know my feeling on Fidelity and BlackRock and everything else around it. So the ETFs being accepted, yes, I think in the next probably 6 to 12 months, I can see that happening. And once that happens, I think it might even might happen at the time of the next bull run. As we have a halving of Bitcoin, we might see the ETFs being accepted then. I think it'll be a good time for everybody if that does happen, because of course we're going to start to see the price of Bitcoin go up. So I do think, I don't know if Archie, if you have any other thoughts on that, but that's sort of where I see it right now, is that we will see it soon-ish, and it can only be good for crypto, in my opinion. Got another question here from Puppy. Why do you think BCH is up almost 2x this week? I must be honest with you, I don't know too much about BCH, why it would be up. Probably because it has Bitcoin in the name. Everything Bitcoin at the moment is pumping. So I would say that that's the reason why it's popping up. Another one here from Puppy as well. 500x on Loop. Can you pull it up on screen? Sure, we can do that. So I must be honest with you, I'm not a favorite in the Loop community. I have my doubts on this project. I actually did do a review on this, I think towards the end of last year or beginning of this year, but it looked great at the time. And if we actually have a look here, if we have a look at its all-time high, I think I reviewed it somewhere down here. So it actually has gone up since I reviewed it. But since then, there have been some sort of concerning developments around the project. I actually did a video that said, you know, I'm not so keen on it. And I actually got bashed by the whole Loop community. My inbox on Twitter was insane. I actually eventually removed the comments on the Twitter video, on the YouTube video as well, because I really didn't get great comments. My concerns around this is that there were issues around the audits that were not fixed. They were not addressed. And they can be pretty big. I mean, this is one of them here, the smart contract for following the token. For following token contains variable tax rate function. This opens the opportunity for contract owners to modify contract behavior, change fees, So that was one of the issues. We can actually maybe even bring up the audit reports if I can find it here. Here it is here. So that was one of my main issues around it, is that there were issues that were raised in the audit report that they actually hadn't fixed. And I'm not too sure if they fixed it since then. If we go to their findings, they had 3 major. If we can actually open up these major ones here. And I think that what they had done is they had noted them, but they hadn't actually fixed them. And that was one of my big issues. And that was part of the follow-up review that I'd done, where I basically said, I'm not convinced that, you know, these things have been fixed or they've been looked at. And there have also been rumors, especially here around the pump, that the team were actually buying up their own coins to pump the price up. And you can see we've dumped quite heavily since then. Now, I know a lot of the alts were up around about this time as well, but it was very coincidental that people were talking about this project and the project pumped and then dipped again. So it looks like there's a possible rug around this one. So every time I see Loop, I actually steer clear. And again, I am not well liked in the Loop community for that reason, but I'm very cautious on this one. I don't think this is going to 500x. I think it might have a pump just because all the altcoins will pump in the bull run, but I don't actually believe in this project. They had a roadmap that they haven't delivered on. Their website actually went down for a couple of weeks. The developers are not doxed. They have a Telegram that they sort of saying, oh no, the developers were sick and that's why we haven't seen things. And they brought a backup website up. And for me, it is all very sort of, you know, cagey around this project. So that's also why I brought these sort of things up. When you see 500x, don't just get super excited. You've got to be doing your own research. It looked great. It looked like it was going to be a really good up and coming layer 1. If we have a look here, what it's all about. So framework supports smart contracts without the adaptability and security impediments of prior frameworks like Ethereum. It was actually sort of labeled as an Ethereum killer, which never really happened. So for that reason, I steer clear of Loop. I would actually recommend everybody in my community to steer clear of it as well, unless you sort of want to, you know, gamble basically. But from my opinion, I would say no. Steer clear of Loop and, you know, maybe pick something else. You have hard-earned money that you want to be investing in. For me, if we have a look at this list, there are some good projects on this list, don't get me wrong, but I think we need to be realistic of what our price points could be for these certain projects. You know, for example, Woo, I think is a good project. I think it has some great utility. Nexa, I have my own doubts on, only because the project previously did have its own issues, and they have sort of reinvigorated themselves around Nexa as well. So from this price, it looks good. You go onto their website, for example, and you can see that they have like a whole bunch of different partners. But when you actually investigate the partnerships themselves, they're not real. It's just companies that they're working with. So yeah, but look, my number 1 red flag on this list in particular would be Loop. We have a look here at Thor the Mighty. It's good to see you in the chat, and I see you here all the time on the Gem Hunters. So it's good to have you in the chat as well. Thoughts on MNW? Can it make 100x or better chances on VeChain? Now, personally, on this one, I actually love MNW. It's one of my favorite projects, and I definitely think that it can do a 100x. I'm sorry, I'm just doing this. So if we go to Morpheus MNW, so if we have a look here, we are sitting at a 53 million price point, market cap. I actually think right now is a good buying point, to be honest with you as well. 100x from here is very possible. I mean, you'd think that it's only going to then be 5 billion. So in terms of market cap from this point, which really isn't that bad when you consider that VeChain, I think VeChain went to 12 billion in the previous bull run, if I'm not mistaken. So if we actually have a look here at VeChain, so for that reason alone, I think Morpheus Network can really do well in the next bull run. So see VeChain sitting at 1 billion, but if we go to its all market cap here, it's all-time high. Yeah, so it was even higher than what I thought it was. So just touched the 14-15 billion mark. So for Morpheus Network to hit even 5 billion is really not impossible at all. So 100x from here, I think for that project is very possible. Another reason why I think that it's pretty possible as well is that it's interoperable. A lot of you guys on my channel, you will know interoperability really plays a big sort of important part for me. Anything that is interoperable is definitely going to be seeing some better activity and better pumps in the bull run. When you can work with any chain, do anything, 100%. So from my perspective, yeah, 100x for MNW is definitely on the cards. I think it'll possibly even outperform VeChain, if I'm being honest with you. I think VeChain has had its opportunity. It's seen its main bull run, and the fact that it's not interoperable is going to, in my personal sort of view, it's going to count against it. Not that there isn't space for VeChain to actually operate. I don't think it's going anywhere. It's still a great project. I don't think it's going to dump. But I do think that we will see MNW actually outperforming it. So for that reason, I would say that, even now, if you think about it, buying into VeChain, and even if it goes up to half of its previous all-time high, if you're buying in right now, you're still looking at a 7x, which is in crypto terms, any profit is good profit. So yeah, look, VeChain is not a bad project. Great team. They've got some great partners that they're working with. And it's a proven project as well, which is something that is pretty important. You're looking at MNW, they're still pretty new. And I'm not saying the team they're bad, but of course, we don't know how high they can go. They are still expanding. They're growing at the moment. So the two of them will definitely be the top of the supply chain coins, in my opinion. Where MNW lands up at the end of it is anybody's guess. But I do think that it'll outperform VeChain. And I have said this before in some of my other videos, some of the live streams that I've done with some of the guys as well. So, yeah, VeChain's good, but in my opinion, Morpheus is better because it's interoperable, it can work with anything, and it's quick. If you have something like a Morpheus network joining up with like an XRP or a Quant or an Algorand, I really think that you could see something massive. So yeah. Alex says, thoughts on metaverse projects. Personally, metaverse is not one of my favorite sort of areas of crypto. One of the main reasons for that is that people can get pretty bored with games. So for example, if you have look at our squishy little characters that jumped around the screen in the previous bull run, and that was Axie Infinity. People got bored, nobody plays it anymore, and the coin is not worth much. From my side, if you're going to be investing in metaverse, make sure that you are actually investing in the infrastructure around metaverse projects and not necessarily the games. Now, for that reason, it's why I like Altura. It's why I like Gala, because it's the infrastructure and not necessarily games. The infrastructure is always going to be there. People get bored of games, they move on to the next one, and then the price of the coin can dump. But if they're using infrastructure, for example, Gala or an Altura, that infrastructure is always going to be there. The games might come and go, and people might use different games, but that infrastructure is always there. Unless you have something like a Nakamoto, as an example, where you have lots of small little indie type games being deployed all the time. And that can work, because then obviously, and they have nice little aspects as well where you can bet against your friends. So there's like a competitive aspect on that too. So Nakamoto could be the one that stands out amongst some of the others. I know that people have been speaking about GFL recently, or DFL rather. I haven't done too much research into this one. It does have a pretty low market cap, which is great. I probably will be doing a video on this in the coming future, because I have seen it's popping up on my streams quite a bit. So yeah, I think GFL could be one that you could be looking at. Like I say, I haven't done too much research into it, so I'm not too sure what it's actually about or what it's like. Platform aims to revolutionize gaming industry, releasing first sustainable blockchain game with its first title, Elemental Raiders. Platform plans to add subsequent first-party titles. You see, so this one could be a good buy as well, because it seems to me that they're sort of hosting infrastructure and not necessarily just a game, which is good. I do think metaverse is always going to be there. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's going to die out. If there's games to play, people are going to be there. So yeah, metaverse is good. Just be careful. Don't go all in on metaverse. That's sort of my opinion. Puppy says here, Meta Hero. Yeah, now don't get me wrong. I think Meta Hero is possibly a decent play. Low market cap. Nobody really knows what's going on. It did have quite a pump in the previous bull run, and that was mainly because we had Mark Zuckerberg saying Meta, change the name of Facebook to Meta, and because of that, we had all of our crypto metaverse coins pump, basically. So yeah, I think we're having a look at market cap here. We're looking at $15 million. So this is possibly worth a bit of a go in, and it can pump. I mean, this can easily 100x if we see metaverse coins absolutely take off. Then we can see this move, and 100x from here is not impossible. You're looking at what, 1.5 billion for a metaverse project. That's not impossible at all. They seem to have a pretty good team behind them. I think their idea is quite nice. Basically, they want a 3D world. You're going to pop your VR headset on. You're going to be living in the VR world, basically. And they want a really nice, realistically rendered VR world. So from that perspective, yeah, Meta Hero can do well. There's definitely utility behind it. So who knows? We've got another one from Alex here. You're thinking of investing, already pumped so much recently. I'm hoping for a retracement. That's true. That is very true. I think I've been talking about it since it was about 12 million. If we have a look at Altura over here, I've been talking about it since it was about 12 million in market cap. I think we're up to 28 now, so it's gone even a bit. Give it a little while. I don't think we are going to be seeing these levels stay for very long in the crypto space. I do think we're going to be dropping down. There probably will be an altcoin rally. We have spoken about this recently on the Gem Hunters channel, where we did say my opinion was that we will see some coins possibly, sort of 5x. And then we will go back down to previous levels. So Altura for me is a solid buy, and it's like Puppy says here as well, as DCA. That's the best thing that you can do. If you like a project, don't go all in on anything, whether it's Bitcoin or whether it's Altura or anything in between. Don't go all in. Buy a little bit, and you're making sure that at the end of the day, your profits will be pretty good. So I think what we're going to see is it seems to be steadily going down again. It's all going to depend on what Bitcoin does. But if we hit anywhere around the 20 million and below sort of market cap mark, I would say possibly start to look at getting in a bit heavier. We don't know how low it's going to go. I mean, it could go all the way back down to, nothing basically. So, yeah, DCA is probably your best bet. If you're DCAing into any project, you are giving yourself the best opportunity that it's going to do well, and you're going to see better profits. If you go all in right now and it dumps down to 12, you're going to regret it. So, but if you put in 10% and then you have another price point, so say for example, we've gone all the way up here to, what's this, 4 cents basically. So if you decided here 4 cents was a great buy, you take 10% of your money, buy it then at 4, and then you watch it go down, and you say, okay, look, it's just entered the 3 range here. We can even use this as an example. So say it carried on going down, and then you say, and it goes 3.5 cents. I'm going to go buy in. Now what you've done is you've taken 20% of your available capital, and you've actually averaged out that price. So that's exactly why we always advocate for DCAing into a project, and you're giving yourself that best opportunity to get some pretty decent returns. Alex also says here, is GFAL available on KuCoin? We can have a look at that for you right now. I must say, GFAL, I'm actually going to be putting it on my watch list here because it looks good. Markets. So if you ever want to know where to buy your coins, you click here and you can see your markets. At the moment, MEXC, BitGet, PancakeSwap are your only real options for GFAL, unfortunately. Of these, I would probably say these two are probably your easiest ones to actually go and grab the coin. There's no KYC. I don't think BitGet has KYC from what I remember. So these two, and also if you're interested, I do have an MEXC link where you will get some discounts for some of the buys. So if that's something that interests you, go ahead and you can use that as well. But yeah, I'm actually probably going to be doing a video on this in the next few days. I think it could be worthwhile looking at. So everybody in the community who brought that to my attention, that's really cool. So that's it for the question. So maybe what we can do is we can pick a couple of these over here. I'm actually going to have a look here at CAS. So I've seen a lot of people talking about this project for a while, and Casper itself, low-ish market cap. It's picked up quite a bit recently, but I still have my doubts about this project as well. If we have a look at some of these, I don't think it's on any of these. Yeah, they're saying $1. From here, what's that? That's a 50x from this point. So I mean, in terms of market cap, possible, unlikely though. In my opinion, I would see this as more probably a 10x from here, if anything. My big concern about this this project itself is that the team is constantly like changing their sort of ideas around what they want. They're doing a lot of like fundraising behind the scenes. And for me, a project that is doing fundraising does raise its own concerns for me, because why are you fundraising when you're supposedly building this great project? So if they deliver, I mean, this could genuinely be the new Bitcoin in a couple of years' time if they deliver on everything that they're saying. But for now, I can't see that being the case. So it's another example of having a look at these lists, and when you're seeing like an 80x over here on Casper, I don't think that's realistic. I actually think that there are other layer ones that are probably better than that. So, for me, it's one of the ones that I'm not too sure on. So we've got some more comments here from Alex. Wasn't really a crypto guy until the big pump at the start of the year. Yeah, look, that's how a lot of people actually get into crypto. It's always the case. You have a friend, for example, who will sit there and say, I invested in this crypto. It turned $100 into $1,000 or whatever the case is, and then they go in, see the big pump, and then you don't really understand it and you buy in. So that's really how a lot of people, if you speak to most people in the crypto space, you'll hear that a lot of us, myself included, bought in at the height of a bull run without really understanding what was going on. And it's only when you see these dips that you start to realize, okay, let me do a bit of research into projects and whatever. And that's when you start to see that there are a lot of scams out there, but there are still some really good projects. So it's great to have you as part of the crypto community. I hope that this latest dip hasn't really scared you off and you're second guessing. I do think that crypto will have its day again. There's no doubt about it in my mind. You just got to sort of like, stick around basically and wait this winter out basically. Discouraged by the names over here. Is that the markets where you can buy GFEL? Is that what you're talking about? Where we have all the pancakes and all the unicorns. Yeah, look, where a lot of these new projects, that's where they do list. So I wouldn't stress about it too much. What generally happens is they list on a lot of these. You have your pancakes here, your unicorns too. They list on these because it's a lot cheaper to list here. And once a project gets going, then they can afford to list themselves on. Yeah, no, he does. He means PancakeSwap and Uniswap. I know what you mean. They list here first because it's a lot cheaper, and then you can list yourselves on like essentially what we would call a tier 2 exchange, like an MEXC or Bitmart or BitGet or something like that, where it's cheaper to list your coin. And then eventually they would then put themselves on a Binance or a KuCoin or something like that, where we would see a lot of research going into these coins before they actually get put into circulation and whatnot and listed onto the exchange. So don't necessarily be too discouraged. Sometimes it's just these PancakeSwap and Uniswap areas are actually sometimes the best place to pick up super cheap coins. Because sometimes once their market cap hits maybe 100 million, obviously it's less likely once you hit your 100 million that you're going to see your 100, your 1000, your whatever X. From 100, you say, okay, great, I've got a 10X. But by that time, a lot of people know about the coin. It's on an exchange, a big exchange, like a tier 1 exchange, basically. So don't always be discouraged by the Pancake and the Uniswap. They can be a bit difficult to use, but you can see some good returns from really solid coins over there. Puppy. So before we go to that one, you say you don't like coins with big market caps. It's not always a bad thing. You're obviously not going to see your 100x's from a lot of them. I mean, if you think that Bitcoin is going to 100x in the next bull run, for example, sorry, I'm going to be the bearer of bad news right now, and I'm going to tell you it's not. So yeah, look, the lower caps mean bigger profits. So that's awesome. So portfolio filled with smaller coins like Nakamoto, coins around 20 million, Hello, Altura, and Hero. Nakamoto, we've spoken about. I think it's a pretty cool, I do think it's a pretty cool project, a good concept. If they can keep delivering on those little indie games, they can do pretty well, in my opinion. Hello, I must be honest, I haven't really looked into this one too much. I do know that one of my fellow gem hunters, Archie, he actually called this one pretty early from what I remember, and I think so. He's got quite a good video on it. So if you want to go check it out, go have a look at his video. Altura, Hero, also pretty good project. So Puppy, I think you're setting yourself up for some pretty big gains in the next bull run. So we expect you to be bragging right here in the channel, telling us how good you were doing at the height of the bull run. But also important to remember, take profits. I will say this again and again and again, and I'm probably going to bore the hell out of you guys, but remember to be taking profits from everything. If you are taking profits, you are doing well. And in my opinion, sometimes taking a profit is, taking a profit is actually braver than just holding, because you have to take a little bit of profit and go, what happens if this coin does another 2x from when I'm taking it out? But, profit for me is profit. If you get greedy If a coin does a 50x and you're like, oh, I'm not going to take profit because it might do an 80x as an example, and it doesn't, and it goes down, and you then take profit out at 30, you're going to be sorry. So make sure as part of your strategy, you have an exit strategy of how you can, when you're going to be taking profits out. You know, when you had 2x, take out your initial investment as an example, because then you're only playing with house money. You have your own profits back or your own money back. So you haven't lost anything. And from there, then it's little bit by little bit by little bit as the price creeps up. You know, so that's, for me, is really important to remember, that you are going to make good gains with these projects, but remember to be taking profits as you are going along. We have got Thor the Mighty in here talking about LYX. Do you invest in it? Are you still bullish in it? So I haven't invested in it. I will be transparent with you guys. I haven't invested in it, but I do think that this project is actually very important for the crypto space. So I really like this project. It's a way that we can get sort of influential people into the space. For those of you who don't really know what the project is about, it's basically luxury goods in the crypto space. The project itself was delivered by the gent who actually helped develop the ERC20 standard, and his wife. So this guy really understands what good crypto projects are all about. And for that reason, I think that that's already sort of something solid to start off with. But basically what this project does, and it goes against everything that you think and know about in the crypto space, where their whole ecosystem, you will have a single sign-on, which is crazy for me if you think about how safe and secure we want to be in crypto. But now this project is, you're going to have one portfolio that is going to sort of follow you around. Your name is going to follow you around the whole ecosystem. You go and buy yourself some Nike sneakers, you're going to get NFT that you're going to put on an avatar, or you can flex it on this ecosystem. So that's the sort of thing that they're going for. And I really do think that this will bring a lot of newbies into the crypto space, into a solid project, which is awesome in my opinion. People get rugged and they leave crypto. And for me, that's the worst. That's one of the reasons why I created this channel. One of my first projects that I invested in was called Dream Team Token. I just heard about it from people that I was working with, and guys can actually go and have a look at it. It was an absolute nightmare. The team disappeared around about COVID time, and we haven't heard anything from them since. And that's one of the reasons why I created this channel. I'm trying to help people not to sort of get into those situations where you get rugged. And that's one of the reasons why we don't talk about meme coins on this channel. Every now and then I do gamble on a meme. I put some money into Pepe and made a little bit. I doubled my money and I took it out. But I'm never going to advocate for people to buy meme coins. And this is one that is really nice to be getting into, but not necessarily, worrying that you're going to be rugged. So that's why I like this project, and I am super bullish on it still. I mean, it's got a fairly high market cap, but we can see a really nice 10x from this. That's not impossible. They still need to go live. That's why they have this little E at the end of their name. The ticker is actually going to be LYX. Once the mainnet is launched, everybody will have a 1-to-1 token, and that E will drop essentially. But everything that they're planning to do on this project is looking really, really good. It's online. You can see it's on my consideration list, but I haven't bought into it just yet. I want to see just a little bit more from them before we go in and actually make some buys on this. But I do think that this project can do pretty well. The guy's wife who helped him start it, she's actually part of the luxury goods market. So, she knows that side of the market where he's the nerd, he's the programmer, he's the developer who's creating this whole blockchain. She can come in with her contacts. They know Vogue, they've spoken to Nike, they've spoken to a whole bunch of luxury brands who are interested in what they call the phygital world. So they're creating this phygital world here, and essentially, so it's going to be physical goods in the digital world. And it goes in quite nicely with me being pretty bullish on the whole real world assets sort of narrative. So that's something that I do like over there. If we move on to the next comment, if we pop Alex up here, Alex says he has Quant in his portfolio. I would say that you are a very clever guy to have Quant in your portfolio. Great portfolio to have, or great coin to have, basically. I think Quant right now, for me, every time it dips below 100, I pick it up. It will hit 4 figures one day. I don't know how much, but it will hit 4 figures. A lot of people are saying round about $6,000 eventually, which for me may be a bit high. But when you think about the supply of only having, what, 14 million or something like that, then you're not looking, you think about it, 14 million people can hold one of these Quant coins, and Quant is going to be the backbone of the next sort of financial system. So 14 million coins for the whole backbone, whole financial system. These coins can be worth quite a bit one day. So holding Quant, you're definitely helping yourself. I would say as much as you can be picking up. Quant is probably one of the highest caps that I would say pick up regularly. Look, I have my favorites. I have HBAR, I have XRP, I have Algorand, who are also quite high up. But Quant is going to be one that is definitely, it's going to be in my top 10 in the end of the next bull run, almost certainly. That's my opinion. I know that there's Chainlink, but I think that Quant will probably outperform Chainlink, in my opinion. Thor, thanks for a really cool comment here. Great channel. My channel will go far. I hope so. As long as I keep building this great community with everybody else, then, who knows where we're going to be in a year's time, even towards the end of the year. So it's great to have everybody here. I'm hoping that these streams do grow from strength to strength. Make sure that you guys are sharing, that you're liking everything like that as well. We are building a pretty epic community. Make sure you're checking the Telegram down below as well. Free Telegram. Puppy will know, he's on it. We are picking up. We're talking in the chat quite a bit recently. Got a pretty cool community growing there as well. So make sure you're checking that out. And then we have Pump the Crypto. I hope I said that right. Flux has potential. It does. I must admit, I have not done a huge amount of research on Flux, but it's got a decent market cap. It's got a pretty good team behind it. And they do have quite a good idea. If I remember correctly, they're proof of work. Proof of work projects, not necessarily my favorite, but they do have a good idea. And I think if they can pull this off, from what little I know about Flux, I think it can do very well. What we're looking at in terms of potential, maybe another 10x, I would say maybe 10 to 20x on this project. We do have to be realistic about it. I'm not going to sit and tell you guys every single one is a 50x, 100x, because that's unrealistic and I'd be lying to you guys. But Flux, I do think, Flux, I do think has some potential in the long run. Thor, be the greatest problem not to cash out in the bull run. Everything is going up. You want more and more. Bit scared of this coming scenario. I hope I can do it. Look, I'm sure you will. Just stick around. Make sure you're on the channel. Make sure you're following as many well-known, reputable crypto influencers, and we will all help you. We're all going to be telling you sort of how to go about taking profits. It's always little bit by little bit, but the first thing that you need to do is make sure you are taking out your initial investment. That's the best thing that you can do, because if you're taking that out, you're playing with house money essentially, and it goes down to zero, you haven't lost. So from that perspective, make sure you're at least taking out your initial investment. And then my personal strategy is I have different price points that I've set, and then I take 10% and then 10% and then 10% until you get to a point where you go, okay, this is not going any higher. And we are quite lucky that we can watch Bitcoin. When Bitcoin starts to go down, you've maybe got a week or two at the height of a bull run to start taking your money out. So when you're seeing Bitcoin starting to plateau and go down, probably a good time to start profit taking a bit more heavily, because you know that your coins are going to start to come down as well. Thor, we've got a puppy first. So what are some of the larger altcoins that you think can 10x with minimal risk? Look, there are so many, in my opinion, that can 10x. Some of the larger ones, if we have a look, Polkadot, I know you might not think that, but I think Polkadot can. Matic as well has some potential. I think Matic might just under a 10x at the height of the next bull run. If we keep going down the list, some of these other coins, I think there's better. I think, for example, Crust can do it as well. So I would go Crust before I go Filecoin. Arbitrium, I would advise anybody to steer clear. I think Arbitrium is, yeah, it's not good. The tokenomics are not great behind Arbitrium. I think GraphLink has potential to 10x. I think Algorand has potential to 10x as well. If we keep going down this list, Immutable, not many people are talking about it, but it has potential to 10x. Render, I'm up in the air about this one. It is on my watch list, but I don't know if we will see a 10xing or anything like that. So there are some really good coins. If you go down this list in the top 100, even now, Chiliz I think is overlooked. Gala I think is one that can definitely 10x in the next bull run. In my opinion, I think it's a great coin. GMX, another really, really overlooked coin as well. So yeah, and XDC, maybe not this time around. This is you'll keep watching the channel as I have an XDC video coming out today. I think 10x in the long run, not in the bull run, but I think 10 years from now, XDC will be 10xing. And I know that's not what everybody wants to hear, but if we have a look here, so we have which altcoins will probably 50x. And then we have here as well from Pump to Crypto, 3 solid coins to make 20 to 30x. Ooh, okay. There are so many that can 20 to 30x. 3 solid coins off the top of my head, I would say look at Mask. So the reason why it hasn't really had much attention is because it's in a pretty boring space within crypto, and it's privacy and security. So people don't really talk about it, but I mean, when you look at this market cap here, Mask is really good. They're around privacy and that sort of thing. I think Mask, Crust networks, that's decentralized storage. Crust network can definitely do a 20 to 30x. If we bring up Crust over here, Crust network, there it is here, CRU. I think you see here another one, 7 million. It can easily do at the 20 to 30x. And if we thinking about another one, I'm just trying to think, there are so many good coins. Probably another one that you could be looking at, this one is maybe a bit more, actually no, which one I am going to show you is Demetra. I think this one has some really good potential, not really being spoken about too much at the moment. $1 million market cap, 15 million if we're rounding up. Already being used, got great use case as well. I think it's around about agriculture and farming. So, and they're using blockchain technology to help these farmers create better crops and stuff like that. So a 20 to 30x for that, $15 million easy. So those would be the 3 that you could look at. Very cheap, but can do very, very well, in my opinion. When do you think bull market will really start to kick off? Look, I don't think we're going to see too much happening until, I would say, between March and June next year. A lot of people do talk about the halving. I think the halving is going to have a part to play. I think towards the end of this year, we're going to see global markets sort of picking up. And you might see, I do think the bottom is in Puppies over here saying April next year. I think you're very close to being spot on. I think we're very much in an accumulation phase. And from June next year, I think my personal opinion, we're going to see all-time highs being hit in December next year. And then we're going to be climbing up past that until the June of 2025, when I think we will hit our peak. And then by then you should be well into profit taking. You're accumulating. Yeah, I'm going to be doing the same thing, that's for sure. You've got more than 40 coins in your portfolio. Do you think it's too much? Now, this depends on how much money you actually have to spend within the crypto space. 40 can be difficult to manage as long as you feel like you can manage it and that you're comfortable, that you can manage all of that. But look, one thing I will say, probably don't add too many more coins unless they are absolute bargains. The reason for that is you're going to be diluting your profits. So if you have a lot of money to put into all of those, and then each of them, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x, whatever, it's going to be great. But for example, if you have $100, let's just say if you have $100 and that's all you have to spend, and then you have 40 coins, you're putting a small amount of money into each one, and instead of taking that $100 and maybe putting it in one we all know is going to do well, that we pretty much guaranteed a 100x, instead you're diluting it and you might get an average of 50x across all of them. So if they are solid projects, my portfolio is broken down into solid, and I even have some degen buys that I'm expecting that my money will go. But if the project actually really rockets, then my portfolio will do well. So if they are solid projects and you know that you have an average that you're expecting from that, so if your average, you say, I'd be happy with all of these 40 coins having an average of a 50x, great. But if you would like to see bigger profits, it depends on what your risk, how you're feeling about risk. If you want to see some bigger projects or bigger gains, then maybe think about reducing that. It might be difficult now. You're probably in a loss, and a lot of people in their portfolios are in the red. But from now, I would say stack on those before you buy into anything new. That would be my advice on that. Will you make videos telling us how you're selling? I will do that, of course. We will have live streams as well. So if you guys have questions while we're on the lives, I'll take you through all of that, and also join the Telegram as well. We'll be talking about all of that in the Telegram too. So yeah, of course, we'll be talking about that, and I'll be doing some videos around the profit taking. Made the majority of your money from Chiliz. Yeah, it's a good coin. It's dumped recently. I was hoping to get some pretty nice profits from it around about the World Cup time. But unfortunately, Sam Bankman-Fried had other ideas and decided to crash FTX and the whole crypto market with him. So my plan didn't pan out. But I do still think that Chiliz will do very well. It's in a very good market. For those of you who don't know, it's focused around sports. So they have a whole bunch of sports teams that have signed up, and you can buy NFTs and so on. And these NFTs basically give you access to the locker rooms or to the VIP suites at a sports ground, or in the Formula One space, walk around the paddock as an example. So, Chiliz will come back, in my opinion. I do think that's going to happen. Alex, which online wallets do you recommend? I had this question earlier on today in my Telegram. I would say look at Trust Wallet and MetaMask. The reason for that is that there is a lot of help online. So if you're struggling for one reason or another, it's easy for you to open up a YouTube video or find an FAQ or something like that online that can help you with your issue. If you're using some of these smaller ones, you might not necessarily find the help that you need, and you can struggle from there. But MetaMask and Trust Wallet are probably the best, although it does depend on what you're using. I think, probably about 4 different wallets, hot wallets that I use. And that's just because some wallets coins aren't supported in certain wallets. So yeah, that's really what I would say. And make sure that you are saving your seed phrases. It's another one. Please save your seed phrases, know where they are, back them up, and don't make them easy to find. Because if your seed phrase goes, go and have a look at the stories about those guys they bought Bitcoin back in the day when it was worth like $400, and they have $2 million worth of Bitcoin, and now it's all gone. So make sure you're saving those seed phrases in a safe place, but not just a sticky note on your desk either, please. It's got to be in a safe place that you can find. Demetra is a great gem, says Thor. 100% agree. And then we've got Alex over here. How much money do you really need to become a crypto millionaire? It's difficult to say. I think everybody's in a different circumstance. I will say as well, don't focus on becoming a millionaire. Focus on making as best as profits as you can. A lot of people in crypto will make life-changing money. You know, a lot of us will see at the height of the next bull run, you will see money that you've probably never seen in your bank account before. And that is great. That is something that we should all be thankful for, even if you don't become a millionaire. You know, some people, you see, what irritates me, I see these videos where people say, take $10,000 and turn it into $1 million. There's lots of us who don't have $10,000 to be investing in crypto. Take what you can afford, put it in, and crypto will give you that opportunity to make life-changing money. For some people, life-changing money is only $20,000. It takes you out of a really bad situation. So as we all want to be crypto millionaires, and I think we are right at the beginning of crypto. So 10, 20, 30 years from now, I think a lot of us who are investing now will be pretty well off. But how much do you need right now? It depends on the projects you're investing into. You know, if you're, for example, buying XRP, wanting to become a crypto millionaire, it's going to be you're going to need a lot more money to turn that into $1 million compared to a Demetra or a Crust network or a Mask or something like that. So, you know, obviously, if you have money, put it into a lower cap and you will probably see bigger gains. But just make sure that you're putting it into the right project, basically. Don't just throw your money into something like some things that have lots of zeros. So we can see here, as an example, I mean, if this goes 0.00004, a lot of people see that, they go, it's cheap, I'm going to make lots of money. But then when you actually see the supply that is sitting at like, you know, 10 trillion or whatever the case is, we can actually use one that was a good coin that is not anymore, and that's Luna Classic. People see the price here. I don't even know how many zeros are here, as an example. It's there's just too many for CoinMarketCap to display. But when you have a look at the supply, we're sitting at 6.8 trillion. You can't expect this. We're already sitting at 500 million. You can't expect this to drop all the zeros and suddenly become $1. You know, so it really, really depends. Invest solidly, and either way, you will make life-changing money. I can sort of promise you. I can promise you that. You know, just be clever with your money. Put as much as you can afford to put in, and you'll do very well for yourself. So Puppy says here, it depends on your situation. I'm a uni student who only has about 10K to invest in crypto. For me, making 50K profit would be life-changing to pay my student debt or get a deposit on a house. Exactly. And that's exactly right. You know, some people might go, oh, only 10K, I've got 100K to invest. And that's great, because if you have 100K, then you just need a 10X on one project, you know, and you've got your $1 million. And some people don't even have 10K, you know, some people only have 5K, 1K, whatever the case is. So, and like Puppy says, 50K for you is life-changing money. You can pay off your student debt. And can you imagine being debt-free from student loans? So it's each to their own. I really can't say how much you need. Just, you know, sort of do what you can. Do you think HBAR can go to $1 in the next bull run? Yes, I'm going to say yes. It does have a fairly high supply, where we're looking here at 50, what's it, 50 billion. But I reckon it possibly can. At the height of the bull run, it might hit $1. I don't think it will end at $1. I will probably say it's probably going to drop back down at the end of the bull run to about 50 cents, which I mean is nice. It's a 10x from here. So yeah, I think $1 is possible. If you're having a look here, what's this? It's be what, 20x, right? To get to. So I mean, you're looking at a pretty high market cap, but it's not impossible. So I think $1 is achievable. And we've got one of the patrons in the chat, Roy. How's it, Roy? Thanks for joining. And then we have got Thor the Mighty. It's not easy at the moment in the bear market, but now we can make the money. Exactly. If you're brave, you invest in the correct projects, bear market is the best time to do it, and you'll be smiling at the end of the bull run. So, you know, it's pretty cool. Right now, I know a lot of people, I say it's cool that the prices are so low. I know a lot of people are complaining because they're in the red. My portfolio is not great. But when we hit the bull market, that's when we're going to see huge returns. So don't be depressed if you see these prices and they're possibly going to come down lower. Don't be depressed. See it as a good opportunity for you to be buying into the project. All right, guys, I think I'm going to be wrapping up the chat and the stream for this one. This is definitely not going to be our last one. Thanks so much for everybody for joining. If you haven't already, make sure you're liking the video, checking out the Telegram. And I'm probably going to be doing these about 2 or 3 times a week. I just need to sort out my schedule to see what's best. I need to also see what works for my patrons as well, because I have to do private streams with them. So, you know, I will sort of have, in the next sort of 2 weeks, I'll have a better idea of what my schedule will be, and I'll try and have these streams happening at the same time every day. If there is something that you would like to see, let me know, drop a comment, send me a message on Twitter or on one of my other videos, whatever the case is. Let me know what you want to see. I just thought that I think we actually landed up sort of hanging out, which is great. That's what I want as part of this community is, you know, even if we don't talk crypto, you know, if we want to have a chill out stream where we talk about gaming or the weather, if we run out of things to say. So I wanted to really try and build this community. So I think the hangout was cool. I think we can do some more live reviews of some coins as well. If I had to take these lists right now, one thing I will say, and I did see a comment earlier on that, are these guys well known? We can't even tell by the blue tick anymore. So whenever you see any of these lists on Twitter, be very, 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 very careful. You know, a lot of these companies do pay to have these names go all over Twitter, and then, you know, you see whatever happens. So if we have a look at this list, for an example, I think Dione is a good coin. I think Rio is a great opportunity as well. A0, one of my favorite layer ones. I think that's a great up and coming project as well. Woo Network and Injective. So you have a look at this list. I can't say if these, you know, looking at all of these are realistic, but just in terms of what projects are good, those that I've just said now, I think are really nice. In terms of price predictions and whatnot, we can maybe look at that a little bit more in the next stream. So if there is something that you want to look at, let me know. We probably do a lot of this gem hunting during the course of my streams. But thanks everybody for watching. And I will catch you in the next one, maybe even over the weekend. But just keep an eye out on my Twitter, on my Telegram, on YouTube, whatever the case is, and you'll see when I have the next one up and running. But for now, that's going to be it. And also, if you want to see more of me, are we going to talk about how Chelsea beat Man United? Or will beat Man United? Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. Also, if you want to see more of me, if you're not too bored of my voice or anything like that, in an hour's time, I'm going to be on the Gem Hunters channel as well, going live on the Gem Hunters. And we're actually going to be talking about layer ones. So it should be a pretty interesting stream. If you do want to check me out there, make sure that you're on the live. Otherwise, yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. And also watch out, my channel is going to be dropping an XDC video later on today. So if you're interested in XDC, make sure you're checking that out. Yeah, thanks very much for watching, everybody. I will be seeing you in the next one.